Okay, this is an oxygen concentrator. The difference between this and an oxygen tank is that an oxygen tank gets empty. You know, a patient can have it on and get all the oxygen they can, and the oxygen tank is only going to last as long as it's filled. So if it's filled up to the top, it's full. It's going to deplete. And the good thing about this machine is that it takes the outside air and CO2 and converts it and filters it into fresh oxygen, filtered oxygen. So this machine is great and for portable. If a patient needs you know needs help with oxygen and needs the extra oxygen, instead of having to replace their oxygen tanks, they would buy this machine, and this machine will do everything. And it's mostly you'll see this concentrator in places like nursing homes and people's homes and stuff like that. So it's a great machine to do preventative maintenance, to check to see if everything's working properly. And there's a cabinet door here. Open it up, and this is where you'll find filters. These filters here, this is called the HEPA filter, and this is called the bacterial filter. The HEPA filter is what filters out all the CO2 and all the air that's surrounding the concentrator. This bacterial filter does the same thing. It travels through inside of the concentrator and goes through this filter. Initially, this here is also a filter that, before it even goes into this HEPA filter, this filter takes all the air in. So you keep this filter in here to take, well, I guess to minimize all the dust that comes in and all the debris and anything that's surrounding this machine. Inside of it, you're going to find the manufacturer, serial number, and model number. Right here is the manufacturer. It's an Invacare. Right to the right of it, there's a serial number. This is where you can identify this unit, this medical device, by the serial number, and there's a model number. A lot of times, these machines, break down, just like anything else. So what happens is that it gives you an error code. There's two lights. There's a red and a green. Right here you would find what's going on with the concentrator. The lights, let's say for example, there's a one red and one green light blinking. So it would go continuously. It would go one red, one green, one red, one green. This signifies that the oxygen concentrator has low pressure and there's a major leak going on in it. That can help you diagnose this machine while you're doing a PM on it, a preventative maintenance on it, because that way there's no second guessing. You open it up, you know exactly what to look for. It's saying there's a low pressure and there's a major leak. Looking for the leak, you find it, you take care of it, and sometimes the tubes are zip tied. Sometimes the zip ties, that over time they get loose from people bumping. You have staff, you have residents, everybody just bumping into them. It loosens up all the tubes and stuff like that inside of it. So this can be a problem, and this is a very good handy. This is like having a cheat sheet pretty much. So when things happen with the concentrator and there's blinking lights, you want to find out what's going on with it, this is your best friend. Let's go in the front of it. Let's plug it in. Okay. So we're going to turn it on. Get a beep. And right here's where you control the amount of oxygen coming out of the oxygen concentrator. Right here is called the barb connector. This is where you plug in the tubing, like a mask or anything that the patient uses to receive the oxygen. So you can drop it down to 1. You can bring it back up to 5. And what it does is there's not a lot of pressure. You know, you're not going to get this huge amount of pressure coming at you because it's not like a tank. A tank is just filled up and it's just going to gush out the, you put 5 milliliters of or 5, pressure, and it's going to come out just, you're not going to be able to breathe, or you're going to breathe too good. This way, this recycles all the air and it comes out, and you're going to get minimal pressure, but it's going to be continuous. It'll never end. So here, this light means that it's running good. We have a green light. If anything was going on too with it, low pressure, high pressure, you're going to get this light will turn on. And then of course this looks like a bell, it's an alarm. That's exactly what it is. So if something's wrong with it, this light, you're going to see that it'll turn on. So here is the hours. It's similar to a car with the mileage, but this is, instead of miles per, mileage on the car, this is hours on the concentrator. It'll give you, let's see, this has 53,808 hours. So this thing's been around for, or has been on for a while. So this here, after you're done doing your preventative maintenance, making sure that there's no sensor light on, you always run your hand through all the cable, all the wiring. Make sure there's no cuts or nicks into the cable wire. When you're done, you would put a finalized sticker on it, that showing that you've done the preventative maintenance, the date, the hours, and the next due date. This helps recognize and make sure that everything's up to date, the medical equipment is being inspected and being taken care of. Another thing you want to look for is the barcodes. Barcodes are very important because you can look up information on the concentrator by looking at a barcode. Usually the barcodes are located in several different places on a medical device. You just have to try to find it. With patience, you'll be able to find it. But I want to, this here is called a O2 analyzer, an oxygen analyzer. This measures how much pressure, how much O2 is coming out of the oxygen concentrator. We always want the oxygen to come out. To pass an oxygen concentrator has to be 90 and above. Anything below 90 is it's not good. It means that the oxygen concentrator is getting, it's been used, it's ready to get new parts, or it just has a leak. So we want to turn this on, this oxygen concentrator. We're going to calibrate it. And here's the tube. Put it in the bar connector. And as you can see, it's going high. It's rising. This is a good sign. We always want, if anything is below 90, usually it's if there's a leak, a slight leak, there's parts inside the concentrator that as it gets over time, it gets overused. You might have to change them. So these are all indicators, because sometimes you can't go by just looking to find if oxygen concentrator has indicator lights on. Sometimes there's no lights. Sometimes because it doesn't sense a problem with it. So this is how you find out if the oxygen concentrator is giving you the correct amount, a sufficient amount of oxygen. And it looks like this one's pretty good, 91.9. It's probably going to go to 92, and it's just going to keep rising. Plug it. And one of the major things too that we always check to make sure on an oxygen concentrator is to make sure that the switch is good. And this is how you find out if the switch is good. The oxygen concentrator is on. You want to unplug the oxygen concentrator from the plug. How we determine if the switch is good, the switch is, it has to beep when you unplug it. This means that the switch is good and it has enough power coming in from the outlet into the machine switch. So let's try this out. So we should hear a beep. There we go. And it'll continue beeping until you turn it off. Hear that? Now if I turn it off, you won't hear it anymore. This concentrator officially passed, and thank you for your time.